So this is the kind of the overview of Photoshop, and I may be repeating things that you already know, and I apologize for that. But I think these tutorials are pretty basic, but they kind of lead you in the direction of the projects that we're working on. So they could still be helpful even if you know all this stuff. And at the very least, it will remind you of some of the stuff related to Photoshop and the tools and the methods and things like that. So this is just a little bit of a preview of what we're going to be getting into for the first project. And the first project is a thumbnail, YouTube thumbnail, and I have it in an artboard here, and we're gonna get to this soon, but it's important that we go over some of the basics first. So let's go new and start from scratch. Now, what size do you want to get into, and what kind of background and what kind of resolution and all those things? So let's do this. So you want to, let's start by, since we will be doing YouTube thumbnail. The YouTube thumbnail size is 1280 by 720 pixels, and you can do inches and pixels and things like that, centimeter. Today we're going to do, again, let's see, 1280 by 720. It's obvious that this orientation's like this. Resolution is 300, and it's RGB color when you're dealing with digital, not CMYK. If we were printing it out at a proper physical paper print, we would do CMYK. But for digital, which is mostly what we'll be doing in this class, that's what we're doing, and everything else is what we should do. So I'm just gonna start. I'm not gonna do a artboard right now, because I don't want to get too. Yeah, I just want to right now. So we have this size now. What kind of workspace should we have? I like the default essentials. Sometimes I'll do photography or graphic and web, but most of the time with essentials, everything you need is there. The most important thing possibly that you see is layers, and then other stuff that you want to see, you can always bring it in another time. Properties is important, and you got properties right there. But say we wanted, what would we want? Gradients or brushes. You can bring that in and have this right here, and brush settings and all that stuff, and then nest that right here again. So I think that let's go straight to grabbing a photo and bringing it in, and then I'll jump around a little bit, and let's bring a photo in. There's a great site. It's called Pexels.com. Pexels.com. PEX. And there's a few different free sites. Let's try to keep everything free, and so yeah, and I'll just do this for now. So free download, it's free. You can donate if you want. It also helps if you have if you've organized your files well. So we can get into that another time. But so I have pixels, and I want to. You can click and drag it in, or you could even say place embedded. It's better if it's embedded, or but yeah, we'll start with that. And there you go. And it can nicely be manipulated so it spreads out. It's not the end of the world if it's a little bit, and just it looks fine like that. So essentials, hit return, and now it's solid. Notice that you got a the layer was created when you brought that in. Not only do often when you bring something in, a layer is created, but you can also add layers yourself. Every time you kind of do something new or add something new, you go here and hit layer. So layers are very powerful and important. In this instance, however, I'm going to add a layer in a different way. I'm going to click, don't double click on this because it will create its own file that will be separated from this, but double click on this side, and this layer style will come up. And what we're doing is, let's say that we want to put text on this image and it's too light, and because we want to put like white text on it or something, so say we want to put white text, so we have to darken this image a little bit, or vice versa, we have to lighten the image, but right now we'll do a little darkening. So that's what I did, and I will hit this color overlay, and already I kind of have a green there, so let's do that over. It's normal, right? It's normal, and you can play with opacity. You should definitely have a high amount of opacity. So let's say I want a little bit darker color than that even. So you want to you want to click on that, and you play around with that. So that's, it's a little, okay, but it's really a common thing to do with photos, and it's pretty basic, and it adds a kind of atmosphere and makes the photo a bit different. So there's that. So this is cool because you see these you can take the effects off entirely right there. So it's a hierarchy system, and there you go. And that is adding kind of a layer of color. It's a layer within a layer. So but if you wanted to quickly add another layer and say that this layer was text, and you go to the text tool and you say forest animals. It's a new album called by the Forest Animals, and there you have the layer right here, and oops, you can click it off and on. So that is kind of like the first very basics of Photoshop. We haven't even got into like font stuff. We'll get into that momentarily. So that's the basics. Window, workspace, essentials. Here are so many different tools right here that we'll get into. Might not get into all of them, but we already have gotten into type. Obviously, this you can use this to move stuff around. But if you want to select something, you can either select it with the select, path selection, direct selection tool. You can, or you select it by hitting that, and that's how you select. Like if I wanted to change the text right there, I would be going like this, or adding to it. Creepy forest animals. That's a little glitch that you generally. This is actually a good example of. Okay, Command Z to bring. Oh, hold on. Sorry. With Photoshop and text, or you want to always each line should be its own layer, its own, and that's another good example of working with layers. So you're going to add another layer. Oops, we're still in text tool. We're going to add another layer. And then that layer will also be text. Or creepy. And then you have a lot more, control over where to put it. Alright, that's the basics. A photo and text and layers, and then doing a color overlay.